Welcome to Starry Academy. This is Christian religious knowledge, and we are looking at the topic impartiality. The teaching on impartiality by James is found in the book of James, chapter 2, verse 1 to 13. Now, let's look at the what it means to be impartial. I'm going to look at these two words, impartiality and partiality. If care is not taken, as a student, you might mix it up. When you are asked, for example, to write about impartiality, if you are not careful, you might end up writing about partiality, only to discover that you are writing opposite of what you have been asked to do. So I like for us to clearly differentiate between this. Impartiality. What is impartiality? To be impartial means to treat people equally. It means to be fair in your treatment of people. Impartiality means that you are just. There is no unfair treatment, so everybody is treated equally here. There is no special preference for anyone. That means you are impartial. On the other hand, partiality means to discriminate. It means to be unjust, to be unfair. It means to deny people their rights and privileges due to their tribe, due to political reasons, due to religious reasons. Okay, so that is partiality. When you begin to, let me use the word, rob Peter to pay Paul. When you are not being fair to people, when you are not being just to people, that means you are partial. So let's get that very clearly. Impartiality and partiality. Now, James admonished the Christians that they should not show partiality because of their faith. Because they hold the faith of Christ, they should not show any form of partiality. They should treat people equally. They should be fair to all. And there should be no any preferential treatment. So they are to they should not relegate the poor. This is especially focusing on the Christian community, for example, will still be coming to the society, but in the church setting, for example, they are not supposed to relegate the poor while at the same time exalting the rich. So the poor and the rich should be treated equally in the church, irrespective of how rich they are. For example, special seats should not be reserved for the rich. In the church, a rich person, a poor person should be able to sit side by side with each other. So James reminded them, the Christians, that the poor who are being despised in this world are chosen by God, and they are made rich in faith to be the rightful heirs of God's kingdom. What James is trying to explain here is that the same poor that are being maltreated or relegated are considered special in the eyes of God, and this is evident even in the world, in our society. We discover that, for example, the poor are the ones who make out all the time. Just they love God, and you are always seeing them in the service of God. So they are also special in the sight of God. So James admonished that the poor should not be treated with disrespect why the rich people are being given special respect. He advised the Christians to love their neighbors according to the scriptures, and that if they show partiality in any way, they have committed sin and they are convicted by the law as transgressors. That's what James said. Now let's now look at partiality in the society. Partiality in the society. You discover that in our society, for example, partiality is very common. There is widespread partiality in our society. You see favoritism, then nepotism. This has to do with knowing people you know. Favoritism, favoring one person, against the other. Social injustice. Then you discover that in our society, appointments, employment, promotions, these things are not based on merit. Rather, they are based on political affiliations, tribalism, also religion. So people are relating to people in the society on the basis of do they belong to the same political party, for example? Are they from the same tribe? Do they belong to the same religion, either Christians or Muslims, and so on and so forth? So these things are partiality when we treat people this way. For example, in the judiciary, you discover that the poor cannot get justice simply because they cannot afford it. The rich violate the law and they go unpunished. These are the kind of partialities we see in our society today. Now, coming to impartiality again in the church, the same partialities that we see in the society are found in the church. As we see that people, for example, are given leadership positions in the church, not on the basis of spiritual qualifications, not because of their commitment, but on the basis of how rich they are. Okay? So, church committees and special positions are headed by the rich. The rich are treated with so much respect, while the poor are looked down upon, even in the church. For example, all the menial jobs such as cleaning, the church sweeping, and all those kind of menial jobs in the church are reserved for the poor, while the rich are exempted. James' teaching is that justice and impartiality should be upheld in the church as well as in the society. Now, what are the effects of partiality in the society? In any society, anywhere you see partiality, unfair treatment, unequal treatment, number one, it brings disunity among various groups in the society. Partiality brings disunity among various groups in the society. Number two, it leads to distrust and unhealthy rivalry. So it brings distrust. Number three, partiality leads to tension in the society. You see people, for example, agitating because they feel that they are unfairly treated. That is because of partiality. When people are denied their legitimate rights because of their tribe or because of their religion, it leads to agitation, it leads to violence, and in worst cases, it can lead to war. Again, number four, partiality breeds sycophancy and the praise singing. So these are the effects of partiality in the society, and James' teaching is against this kind of practice.